like this move?
Yeah, I like it as in the interim. Just one clarification. He will only make this money for Dallas because if he gets traded, a new deal.
Immediately?
You can't trade him. That's part of it.
I didn't realize
you can't
that.
But he also can negotiate with other teams.
Correct. He can negotiate with other teams, and then if a team can flat take him from Dallas for 2 first-round picks. That will absolutely not happen.
What are the years on those picks? Like
it's this year and next year.
But that's
or the next 2 years.
Happened?
No,
that
it
was
hasn't.
like the
That's
Lamar
never
thing.
happened for certainly a non-quarterback, and I don't know who it's happened for. But what can happen, Brew, is he can negotiate with a team, and then that team can go to Dallas and be like, what do you want for him? And that's what should happen.
Right.
Listen, Jerry Jones, you won the George Pickens trade. You got George Pickens for essentially a 3rd-round pick. You got a super productive year at $3 million, and now you are able to trade him for assuredly a 2nd-round pick. What a great trade.
Did it?
You turned a 3rd-round pick into a 2nd-round pick and a super productive season from a player.
Perfect.
That's what you should do. Because what Bruce said the other day is correct. Like, you have other glaring needs. You don't actually have this huge surplus of draft capital post the Micah trade anymore because you then made the Quinnen Williams trade. You also already have a very expensive wide receiver who, even though he wasn't last year better than George Pickens, I believe CeeDee Lamb's a better, more reliable player than George Pickens. And so I like this move as a placeholder to a trade. I will not like this move at all if they don't entertain trades and this turns into a 4-month offseason saga because George Pickens is not going to report under the franchise tag.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, what if Pickens just, somebody gets in his ear and makes sense to him? Like, look, the last few games where you kind of got lackadaisical, that hurts you. Why don't you go out, have another great year? You're going to make $30 million this year. And then next year you play well.
Then it's fine.
But you would be fine with them just keeping Pickens.
If George Pickens was like, I am thrilled to be a Dallas Cowboy and play for this 1-year deal, and I'm going to be here for the offseason, and I'm happy. If George Pickens were happy about this, then yeah, I'd be fine with it. But I just don't think that's a realistic scenario.
Well, look, I would love it if you said it's not going to happen, but if another team negotiated with Pickens during this time and made him an offer, and then the Cowboys declined it and got the 2 first-round picks. I think that'd be great. Because my whole thing, and I think Pickens is more talented than CeeDee Lamb. Like, he's not more reliable, but last year he was better than CeeDee Lamb. If I could get that George Pickens every year, like you do with every other great receiver, right?
You can't.
Yeah, I would be fine with. But if I'm the Cowboys, I've got too many holes elsewhere. You're going to have 2 really highly paid receivers. Your quarterback's the highest paid in the history of the game. You got a few other. Brandon Aubrey's going to be making some money. Like, how are you going to build out that defense? You're going to be Bengals South, and so. I agree that if Pickens is happy, okay, I'll take it. But the team's not going to be very good. Offense is going to be a light show. But your defense is going to be a light show, too, for the other team. And so I would trade him and try to get some defensive players.
Who should call?
Okay. Here's the reality, and this is what I've already said before. I mean, obviously, if he's willing to just play on the franchise tag, then, fantastic. But I just think this is where you have to trust your ability to draft defensively. You felt that after they made a couple moves that this defense got significantly better last season. That it was better. Obviously, it was a liability earlier on in the season. Then they made some moves and they felt like they kind of fortified it. Well, continue to fortify it through the draft. See that play through. But if you marginally increase your defense, but then you take a somewhat step back offensively, did you collectively take a step forward? Like, I'm not even a big George Pickens fan. And even if you're talking about now being like lackadaisical or some of the locker room issues, I actually don't care about that right now because you're betting on the Cowboys being great. If the Cowboys aren't great, then it doesn't matter George Pickens' personality at this point. And if you're winning and things are going great, well, then George Pickens' personality and locker room presence is going to be great. No problems. So to me, that even trying to factor that in almost doesn't make sense. Like, at this point, I am in the ultimate, we always talk about, S-Bob and Boomer Bust and all this type of stuff. I'm telling you, Dak Prescott's clock is ending near. It just is. It's you, or are you going to win a Super Bowl? Are you going to get at least to an NFC Championship game with Dak Prescott? Yes or no? Yes or no? Now's the time to get it done. And if you have the opportunity to build one of the best offenses in the NFL, then do it and trust that you can draft and develop defensive players. Trust your ability to do that. But if you want to find yourself in the situation where we have a pretty good defense, and we have CeeDee Lamb, and we're really CeeDee Lamb centric in the passing game, offensively, in big moments, in the playoff games, etc., etc. And listen, you can say, with the Cincinnati Bengals, I have called out the Dallas Cowboys plenty. They are not the Cincinnati Bengals. The Dallas Cowboys know how to build an offensive line. They know how to build a defense. They know how to build a team. They actually know how to draft. I'm not trying to defend Jerry Jones. I'm really not. But, the Cowboys have been competitive for years and years. And it's not based off the luck of, we got Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins. The Dallas Cowboys have had multiple iterations of this thing going on. Especially if you want to go back to the Romo days as well. And multiple coaches. They've made it work. They've hired the right coordinators. The right coaching staffs. Like I said, built the O-line, built the D-line. Found great secondary, found great receivers, running backs, etc. They have done that in a way that the Cincinnati Bengals certainly have not. Certainly have not. So, yeah. I mean, I know there's this sense that the Dallas Cowboys also have some, a couple other players offensively that they feel that they can kind of step up and fill those shoes than a Pickens. And maybe that's true. Maybe, then you do trust your evaluation process. And I would actually lean on Schottenheimer in that regard to be like, okay, do we need a George Pickens? Or is our offense truly significantly better? Because I also just think if you could just make this defense marginally better, what an offense looks like with this now, where it doesn't need to be the light show. It can be the light show, but it doesn't need to be the light show. And then you're less reliant on some of these big splash plays. You get to be a lot more surgical. I don't know, man. That seems pretty good to me. And this is coming from a guy that wasn't a big fan of the Pickens trade at the time. I mean, I really wasn't. I really wasn't. I mean, I knew it was going to work. I knew they were going to be successful. My whole thing was, it doesn't even matter, but I knew that, I just kept saying, Dak's too good to not have a lot of success with just having one great receiver, let alone two. And so I want to continue that thread. I want to continue to see that with Dak in this offense. And, if you were going to move on from Micah and not pay him, what would be the what would be the plan? What are you hoping to achieve then? Because if you're not going to now get another great player, what else are you going to build out defensively, I guess? Where are you going to continue to spend this money? Because I do believe if you move on from George Pickens, your offense will take a step back. And again, a step, I'm not trying to act like you're falling off a cliff. I don't know how much of a step, I don't know. But I just can't imagine it's going to be better without George Pickens. or the same. And if your defense gets better, if you move on from a George Pickens, does your defense now become elite? Does your defense now become top 5? Because sure, if you feel as though that you can build a top 5 defense now, and you have to move on from Pickens, then sure, I could see that argument. I can see that argument. But if Dak is my franchise quarterback, if Dak is my main guy, he is the anchor of my team, I want to be in a position to bet on him in these big moments. I want to bet on him in the playoffs. Did the defense was the defense the reason why they won against, say, the Kansas City Chiefs? No. It was some big time plays from this offense. From Pickens, Lamb, Dak, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Like, that's how that game was won. That's how that game was won. And I would just want to give all the pieces that I can to Dak at his disposal. And you seemingly have it right now. And now you'll be willingly moving off it. I don't know. I just don't see the path. I think the last thing I'll say is this. I just feel as though that this Cowboys team, with the George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb, etc., right? You have the power. You're in a position to potentially have, like Bruce said, a light show offensively. If not, if you take the other route, you're then walking seemingly the same path that you've walked in every year since then. And I tell me what then changes from today, from 22, 23, like what's the change? Why would we expect a different result when you go up against now the Rams, the 49ers, the Eagles, the Seahawks, again, whatever teams you think are going to be great next season? What are you expecting things to be different? Why would they be different? When you're in the playoffs, in the divisional round, why are you expecting to be better offensively than you had been in years past without, with seemingly less offensive power? Why? Are you just relying on your defense is going to step up and rise to the occasion? And it's just like, okay. It's like, if that was the case, then you really should have gone all in on defense. And if that was the case, well, then why did you make the decisions that you've been making? It's like now it seems like you're kind of guessing. So I don't know. I'm curious how Dallas Cowboys fans feel, because I've been back and forth about this, and then, like I told you guys before, to me I kind of just had this aha moment of just like I'd want to keep Pickens for sure. And I'm just curious how Dallas Cowboys fans feel, and especially now that they've already taken one step forward with obviously the tag. So let me know your thoughts. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all generally feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.